All right. We have a tournament coming up next week, City Outskirts. And it's going to be a full tournament, and it's all par fours. So I've always, I, par fours are where we can get it done. And I think we have some great opportunities. I'm curious to see, I've seen the first two holes, but I haven't looked at the rest of them just to see. I know that hole number one, you can get up there and the eagle is pretty. You need to get an eagle on hole number one, but hole number two is we've got to take a shot from distance. I'm curious to see how many of the holes where we can get on in one or get up there in one where they're, I'm not going to say easy eagles, but they're eagles we have to get versus eagles that we're going to have to shoot from distance. And there are a couple par fours in the game where we think of most par fours as being birdie holes with an eagle opportunity, but there are a few par fours in the game that are par holes with birdie opportunities. I mean, birdie is what you're trying to get. The eagle's pretty tough. So we will see. Now this hole number one. Now I went out there and screwed up, and I actually played the first hole of Century Harbor because I went out to go pick a different bag and club and ball, and then ended up going in the wrong one. And then I came out on this hole, and I actually just barely overshot it and was just barely onto the green, and it's a max overpower putt. You can't make it. Cannot make it. And I was way down here in this corner trying to shoot it up, and I still was 2 squares short of being able to make it. So you do not want to just dribble onto this green. My opponent actually overshot and went over the backside and ended up in the water. So if you, and this is one of those greens that you can catch it where it'll scoot, and so everything looks like it's good, and then all of a sudden what happens is if the course is, sorry about that, if the course has any kind of undulation to it and you hit on this part of the slope, it'll, instead of bouncing up, it'll scoot the ball, and once it starts scooting, it doesn't bounce anymore. It'll take all of its momentum and all of its power, and it'll just fly across the course. Whereas if you hit on the hill face, then it'll bounce up and do its thing. And this is one of those kind of courses you can see all the little shadows down there, and it's very easy to get caught up in it. Now, one of the things I noticed, I was using a power 3 ball, and I've always done 10% on the drive. I was doing a power 3 ball in, red line up in this area, but when you're in here, so you pull it back, and because of the undulation that's on here, you think you pull it back and your ball guide's going to do one thing, but what it does is you're on a different hill here. So now your ball guide's doing this, and you push it forward, and now your trajectory is flatter. And so you can do a rough bump coming out here and try and bleed it out in front. And I will tell you that if you're having problems on this hole, just doing a rough bump off of this and just trying to bleed out here and taking that chip is a pretty safe bet, because if you get this getting onto the green thing wrong, it can go sideways, because number one, there are a lot of putts on this green that you can't make, and it's easy to end up off the backside if you hit it with just a little bit too much speed. I'm gonna see what it looks like if I bring out a bigger ball where I can get way up here in the front. So I'm on a better surface up here in the front where it's a little bit, and I can really kind of see what my ball guide's doing. I'm going to bring out a bigger power ball just so I can see what it looks like. And if this whole course is nothing but par fours, I can tell you, you're going to be using, there's a good opportunity to be using a lot of big power balls. Power 5, top spin boost. Not going to use that ball. What do I have a lot of? I suppose I could bring a power 4 ball and see if that gets me up into the area. Now I'll switch to a berserker because I want to see what it looks like up in the front. And I'm going to use an extra mile because I've got more ball guide. This is exactly what I did last time. I accidentally got into Century. Wasn't thinking. Here we go. I'm going to be careful. I already played hole number 1. I was totally unprepared, and I ended up not getting the eagle. And I'm lucky because I thought I was in practice and I was just going to forfeit. And then I was like, well, am I actually in the tournament? So I went ahead and played it, which is probably a good thing. Let's see what kind of... Yeah, there's 4 topspin. I am right up against the red line. So if we had any headwind, I'm going to have an issue. There's 4. I'm going to do 3 topspin. And a little bit more side spin. 2-6. That's 2-8. It's 2.1 per ring. That leaves me 7, so it's like a ring and a third. I'm going to go for it. I think if this area close, maybe just a titch less topspin, maybe 2.5 instead of 3. I think if there was a headwind there, bringing out a power 5 ball so that you've got a little bit of maneuverability forward. You do not want to have to hit that island with any power, though. I can tell you that. I mean, it's not an island that you want to go at it with overpower. And obviously, you can get there with a white ball. And it helps if you hit it perfect. And my opponent, they got a little bit of roll, so they might be able to actually make it from there. But my opponent's not going to like that putt. It's going to be a max overpower putt. But I think I was just barely on. And even that putt right there. You can take some long putts on this screen. This screen is massive. I was about 1 square onto the green and could not make it. But my opponent's 5 or 6. You got to go all the way down into the corner, dude. There you go. All the way down into the corner. All the way down into the corner. There you go. And they still didn't have enough. That's the thing. You do not want to dribble onto this green. You do not want to dribble onto it. So that's, I may get, I will tell you that you look at a hole like that and you're like, I could get aggressive and really go for it. And really go for it up here. But try and get the hole in one. But it is so dangerous to putt on this green that if you blow past it just a little bit, or if you leave it a little bit short, you could end up with some very difficult putts, as opposed to just trying to be consistent and laying it up right out here in front. And I think it does help if you're trying to do the rough bump to come up. You're going to be more consistent if you bring out a bigger power ball, so that you can be up in this area right here and you can have better control of your ball guide. Where you could use, you don't necessarily have to use topspin to get it up there. You could actually use a little bit of backspin. But just trying, we can be aggressive. We can try and go for hole in one, but the whole goal in a hole like this is to really get an eagle. And this hole, I think there's going to be a lot of people that get their lunch ate on this hole. When you think statistically, you think about 100 people in your bracket. I would think that there's going to be at least 25% of the people that are going to screw this hole up because they either shoot it too long, or they end up like my opponent where they just dribbled on and they can't make the putt. And that's 25% of the people that you got ahead of just because you played consistent. Like I said, I haven't looked at all the holes in here, but I know that there's going to be some holes that we can get super aggressive on. But this hole right here is one of those ones that really the goal is to get an eagle. Start the tournament off good and get an eagle. And if the wind's blowing right, like if we're getting a headwind where you have to bring out something really big, it may be harder to try and go for that hole in one, and just trying to lay it up in the front and getting that chip would probably be the better bet. And I really don't like taking, like you could work that out. I think maybe 2.25 top spin if you brought out a bigger ball, but that's only going to work if we've got a tail or a side wind. But if we've got a headwind, then we're going to have to adjust that out. And it's going to be much easier to lay it up consistently. All right, this hole right here. Now, I'm curious. Let's see if they actually say in the city. Let's see the City Outskirts tournament featuring all par 4s. Embrace your inner rebel. We've got a great treat for y'all today. Not only are we taking you on a trip around 3 different courses, but this tournament will only have par 4s, so no short and snappy par 3s and long par 5s. Practice begins, but they don't say anything about or pin placements. So this particular hole, they have 2 different pin placements, and the newer pin placement, it's almost better to come over here. But with the original pin placement, you really kind of want to be right here in between these shadows. And you have a nice shot coming in. So taking this shot, it's kind of the S curve deal. So let's draw the line. We want to be right here. And so we're going from here to there. So you can start off right here, give yourself a couple rings of separation, and your ball guide's going like this. So you got, and then you want to get your second bounce in here, and then you're coming over and then bringing it in so that it's got a little teeny bit of curl. And what I usually will do on this is kind of line myself up right on that, and with the little bit of curl will bring you back around. You may clip this rough and then bleed out, but this area up here with the shadows is definitely the area you want to hit to. Getting over in here, if you bring out a big enough ball, if you've got, this is a great shot for a rock. You got good ball guide, you got good accuracy, trying to bring it around the corner. You need to clear this tree. So if you're leaving it out in this area right here, where you've got that tree in your way, now that's no bueno. You've got to get past that tree in order to have a straight up shot to the cup. There is a rough bump that you can do here. And I noticed on this rough bump, normally on rough bumps, I like to leave myself 2 or 3 rings into the rough doing it. And you can set it up that way and it looks like it's perfect. But this is one of those rough bumps where it's like you want to be like 1 ring away from the transition between the green, the fringe, and the rough. And it hits a little bit better. Let's try it out. Let's try it out. I want to share. I want to use a Titan. A Titan, the king of balls. My extra mile. Yeah, and I'm going into the wrong one again. Let's practice. Hole number 2. Let's see how many times I screw up. I've already screwed up once. So let's see if we can get 3 times the charm. Shoot this video, and then I've got several runs to the dump and mow the lawn, and got all kinds of shit to do today. Then we're playing D&D. We've had this campaign going for like 2 years, and we're at a crux where like my character has, I would say, probably at least a good 60-70% chance of dying today. Like dying and not being able to come back. I have a lot of hours invested in this character, but today we're going to be doing some serious rolls. So any of you that play D&D, you know the deal. So we've been playing, and my buddy that plays, he has actually 2 characters in our campaign, and his favorite character is going to have some death rolls to do today, I'm sure. We do not want to have to take these shots using overpower, even in practice. Come on. This is why you save your Titans and you don't use them during one-on-one. They got a great shot from there. They're just going to be in the rough. It's not that you can't make that, but come on, give yourself an opportunity. With the big ball, I can just get over there. What was I thinking? 4 and a sliver. Give myself plenty of room. 2/8, 2.1 per ring, so that's a ring and a third. And I'm going to lean just a little bit to the left. Hitting it perfect. Just trying to get up in front of those shallows. You can get all the way to the tip, but let's not get too greedy. If I remember correctly, there's like a plus 10, plus 15% to the cup. If I remember correctly. I think I'm going to be in my Kingfisher. I'm playing my Kingfisher at 1.1, 1.6, 2.1. Maybe. Very close. Very close. Now this number right here, this adjustment right here is one we definitely want to work on, because this is a hole that we definitely want to try and get. There's max. So I'm at mid club. I'm playing at 1.6 per ring. .7 equals divided by 1.6, 2.5, 4 rings. Oh! That is what you get when you hit a great to the left. That was a great to the left. It comes out really true there, so like a perfect would have definitely been in the hole, and that was with 10%. I might have been on close to the other side of the cup. Like it might have been like a 12.5 or a 15% adjustment, but that's right there. You got to hit a perfect, dumbass. But that is the way I'm coming at it every time. Every time. All right, back to the drawing board. Hold on one second. All right, where was I? I was gone for so long, I forgot where I was at. Where am I? We're on hole number 3. Hole number 3. Okay, I have not seen what any holes are past hole number 2, so these will all be surprises. That looks like hole number 2. Come on, reset. That looks like hole number 1. There you go. How hard can it be? All right, to this hole right here, if I remember correctly, we can get down into this area, and there is a rough bump that we can do. The pin is like right in this area right here. There is a rough bump that we can do if we can get down into this zone. Now you can hit it right to here and come up at it, but if you can, you're close to the transition, so like if you can get down into this area, I think you can actually get into your short iron, or if you can get down in this area. So we'll have to see, but you can just go straight at it down into this area right here, and this gives you almost a perfect T rough bump to come up to it. But if you get down in here, I think you're changing your club. So let's see if I can get down in that area and see if it actually changes club. I think you got to get a little jiggy with it. I'm going to take a Titan. We'll take a Titan and check it out. We'll take my number 1 bag. Now there is that area over here. And you can try and get out into this area we're coming out it. But I think really if you want to use the rough, I always like it when we have the perfect T and you've got a pretty good angle at it from just coming down into this area right here. Maybe from the upper divisions, maybe they use that area over there, but I don't think in Ricky we really need to play that area. Now that may or may not be true, but we'll see here. David, thanks for joining the channel. God damn it. I keep going to the wrong freaking holes. I keep going into Sharuba Spring, or not Sharuba Springs, but the actual tournament that we're playing. That'd be 5-1. I think this is 1.4, so there's 3. There's 4. That looks about right. I don't have my numbers for it. I'm all screwed up. Hitting it perfect. Should have had my caddy pull the flagpole. What were you thinking? Did you play in the Century Harbor tournament? Yeah, I kept screwing up. I was trying to demo the City Outskirts tournament, and I kept screwing up and going into the wrong ones. Okay, we'll see. That's 2. Let's see if I can avoid having it happen 3 times. Play the first set. Totally unprepared. Totally. Yeah, you don't want to have anything to do with that edge. At all. The thing I don't like about bouncing it over right there is that first bounce that's on the pin side is so close to the edge. If you make a bad adjustment, it'll just end up in the water. And it's so easy to end up doing exactly what my opponent was doing. This is definitely a hole for a rocket. Now, if you can use a Thor's hammer. It's got lots of backspin as well. Once it gets a little development, but I think pretty much everybody's going to have a rocket in their bag. That will work. See if my opponent can get in from the sand. What I could do is just stay in the thing and not go out and change up any balls. But it's I'm not a big fan of the ball sorting thing when you're out on the course. But I suppose if you have a huge ball selection or ball inventory, it even though it's not perfect, it probably does help. Good luck. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can actually get on the freaking hole that I want to play here instead of dicking around. Played 2, had nothing happen. Wow, we can go practice. City Outskirts. Practice. Hole number 3. Hole number 3. Man, I can't... I know I've played this hole. And it seemed like there was a way to get down there where you're on this sand trap that's on the left-hand side. You're just barely getting over it and clipping the rough and then bleeding out from that spot. If they'll give me a replay. The Tin Cup Loungers. Here we go. Here we go. He's got bonus content. Look at that. Let's probably not the club that I want to take on this particular hole. How close is that second bounce to the sand? Pretty close. 3-4. It's 2.1 per ring. So there's 3-4. I'm going to put just a titch overpower. Hitting it perfect. And I'm glad I put that titch of overpower on there, because I definitely needed to do like maybe a 10% adjustment there. I came in on the left-hand side, and the way that the sand's going there is if you come in on the left, I barely missed that sand with that overpower. If I hadn't put that little bit of overpower on there, I probably would have ended up in the sand. It pushed me off, and the sand's closer on that side. Okay, so my opponent is hitting out to here, so don't overhit it. And let's see what kind of angle. So I'm sure that the angle from over here, they don't have the rough bump. They can just go straight at it. And this club's not going to work for the rough bump because it doesn't have very much topspin. So I wanted to take this. I'd either need to bring out like a Goliath or something. Something that's got a little more, or I need to hit it back to that back spot and not be so risky, because then you're in your long iron. That's going to stop right in front of it. 2-7, and I can get way down into it. And that was a massive overpull because I was at minimum club and I did a max pull. And left it right on the lip. So think about that pull. So that was a grizzly at minimum club, which should have been like 1.4 per ring, and I did a max adjustment at 1. It was a 2-7 win, and I did a 2-7 pull. It should have been like 2 rings off. It should have been 2 rings instead of 2.7. So we probably need to make a little bit of an adjustment there. So that right there is if I wanted to do the rough bump, I could hit that shot with a lower power ball, but I think it would be hard to get into that area with a lower power ball. And if I wanted to take it with my short iron, I'd have to bring out a short iron that has more topspin to do that. So we'd have to make some adjustments on that. Let's go look at that hole. So I was in the spot that I was really trying to hit for, right out here, doing the rough bump, my red line, right in that area. So even if my Kingfisher, if I would have had a Hornet or something that's got more topspin, I don't know. I think you'd have to probably be more up in this area right here if you had a Hornet to get the topspin to get up there. So if you wanted to use your long iron, when we think about, I was at minimum long iron, so if I was just right down in this area right here, I'd be full long iron. And you'll actually a little bit better tee. So to be safe about it, you could probably hit it right here if you want to do that rough bump. Now where my opponent was at out here, they're taking the rough bump completely out of play and just trying to go for it. And if you look at how much undulation's out here on this course, I'm really not kind of interested in having to travel through this zone. There's a pocket right here, there's a pocket right here. There's a lot of movement, and then it's going up to the green right here, so you're hitting on a hill face. I think I would much rather do the rough bump, this tee rough bump, and I think just, if you wanted to bring out a 3-power ball and just go for it, this area right here is probably not a bad shot with a long iron. If you're coming up into here with your short iron, we'd have to think about either that, my Kingfisher is definitely not going to work, so I'd have to bring out a club that's got more topspin. Some thoughts. All right, that was hole number 3. So hole number 2 and hole number 3 are not gimmies, but hole number 2 is definitely a better, you got a much better chance on hole number 2. Let's see. That hole right there, we're going to have to put ourselves in the right spot and bring the right stuff. Hole number 4. All right. All right. Now it looks like, so far what I'm seeing is that we're on the original pin placements, not the new and improved pin placements, because this hole with the new and improved pin placement, you really, like traditionally you can hit out into here and then you're bringing it around. And your second shot, this first shot can be a little bit difficult. Once again, I think on the drive here I was doing around a plus 10%. It falls off right here, so if you go over that, you take the risk of bleeding too far. Doing one bounce here and then bleeding it up into this front area. That's one way to go at it. And I think with the old pin placement, this is probably the number one spot that people are going to go for. Now, what you can do too is you can bring out bigger stuff and you can try and use this island where you're bouncing on the island and you're trying to get it over. The problem with this shot is that you don't have, when you're running topspin, you don't have a lot of control over the end run. And if you're off trajectory even a little bit on the first bounce, you're going to be way the hell off trajectory after you put all that topspin and you do the thing. And there's a ridge that runs like this on this. So if you come at it and you're on that ridge and it starts rolling off to the left, it's going to roll off to the left. It's really easy to end up where you're beautiful and then you end up in the rough. If you come at it and it starts rolling off to the right, you're definitely going to end up down in this area. I've been in both of these areas quite a bit. It's kind of hard to keep it up. It's not that it's impossible to keep it up on the green, but it is kind of difficult to keep it up on the green. In the new pin placement, there's actually a shot that you can do off of this island where you're doing a rough bump and you're just trying to get it here because the pin's a little bit more in this area, and so there's a T rough bump that you can do from here to go straight at the pin. With the new pin placement, you're actually better off to hit over to this area and try and bring it over. With the original pin placement, it's not quite, the original pin placement's kind of hidden by the sand, so if you're over here, it's a little bit hard to bring it around. It's not impossible, but it is a little bit harder to bring it around. Let's think about it. Let's think. I know it just seems like, if you're way up in here, you're in a better club and you're doing for the old pin placement. But I think the original pin placement, this shot is not as good. Even though you're farther back from here, you're in a wood. And if you got lower developed stuff, or if you bring a lower power ball, you're going to have to bring out a big wood. Let's see which way the wind's blowing. No, we don't know. So we're just going to go play it. I'll play it the traditional way off of the island on the left. We will see. The thing is there's lots of different ways that you can play these holes. And not every single one of the ones that they've come out with new pin placements do we need to have a different shot. But there's a lot of them that the original shot does not work for the new pin placement. You're going to have to come at it from a different angle. And it's important to understand how all those work, because if you're out there in one-on-one and the wind's not blowing good for that shot, you can switch over to another. So you can get a jump on your opponent just by playing a little smarter and knowing the course a little bit better. I'm going to switch to my number 2 bag. I don't need that big power. I need accuracy right here. A couple topspin. Let me give myself plenty of room. 3-1. Yeah, I'm probably not going to give myself plenty of room against that. There's 3-3. A little teeny bit of curl. Baby curl. Leaning. Just for flavor. I'd like to be a little bit more to the right, but that distance is good. The farther forward you can get, the more you can open it up with that sand trap that's up there by the green. Now, I like it that my opponent's going the other direction so we can see what their shot is from here. And that's not a shot that you want to have to take with overpower. So bringing out a bigger power ball so that you can go against that headwind is definitely going to help you. Get out. And they didn't. Damn it. Damn it, Dale. Okay, I'm right at max club. Give myself some room from the red line. Four, five. Man, I can get way down in there to it. So I'm just going to do a regular adjustment. I'm not going to add anything on. Four. Yeah, it would help if I actually grabbed the rings instead of the course. 4, 5. Hitting it perfect. Probably needed to do at least an adjustment there. The inconsistency of how the game works for the adjustments. So like if you can't get down to your ring set when you're zooming in to make your adjustments, usually you're way the hell downhill, so you're going to have to add some on. But if you can zoom way down in it, you're usually going uphill, and we should have to make actually less of an adjustment. But the game does not work that way. If you're out there on the fairway, you don't have to hit off that island. You can actually start off on the green side and you have a little bit more control. But you need to bring a bigger ball if you wanted to try and do the rough bump from out in that area. So there's two different looks at it. Unfortunately, my opponent ended up in the rough, so they didn't get to take the shot they wanted. All right, all right. All right, back to the drawing board. In the hole. That works. All right, what's our next hole? What's the next one? Got a slam dunk to get in. Hole number 5. What is hole number 5? What is hole number 5? So only seen one of the holes so far that's get on a one. Now this is a hole-in-one par 4. And I think if you got an upper developed extra mile, you can take this with a Titan. But if you got lower developed stuff, you may have to bring out a power 4 ball. But there is a shot at hole-in-one here. A good shot that you can set up. I remember we had this hole in a tournament, one tournament, when I had a couple teammates that were like killing it. I got like 3 hole-in-ones during the week on this hole. So we definitely have a shot here. This hole is one of those holes that has been they've changed. As one of the things they've changed on this hole is the out of bounds. It used to be that the second cut of the rough was out of bounds. Let's see if I can take shit. I could almost take that with my rock. Get right up into that area right there in order to get the run at it. That puts me about 2 miles an hour into the wind. So I'm going to take 2 rings out. And then I'm going to put 1 ring back in. Oh, want to hit it great to the left here. It'll end up right there. Close. If we had a headwind there, you probably want to bring out a bigger ball so that you could pick a spot out there and be able to work it. If you got lower developed stuff, you could bring out a bigger ball and a big topper. But this is definitely a hole that we can make a run for hole in one. Yeah, the first cut of the rough on this hole, it's funny, I think the sand that you can see over there on the left-hand side was inbounds, but it was super easy to get out of bounds here. There was a bunch of holes when the game first started that the first cut of the rough was inbounds and the second cut of the rough was out of bounds. So if you were out here in the dark green along the edge, you were out of bounds, and it seemed like there used to be a lot more trees on this hole. There's a par 5 that's in the game where you have to go around. It's got a left-hand dog leg, and that hole is the same way. You get caught up on the left-hand side if you hit anything to the left on that dog leg, and you could easily end up out of bounds. Nice shot. That works. Let's not try and do that in the tournament. So that's 2 holes so far out of 5 that we've got a dead serious. And hole number 2 is one that there's a couple of those holes that we've got serious shots out, but there's 2 of them that you're like on. You got to make those. Got to make them. Hole number 6. What is hole number 6? Come on, switch it up. You can do it. There you go. All right, what are we doing here? We can get on in one here. So we have a bunch of different ways that we can go at this hole as well. There is one. So I was watching, when this hole first originally came out, I was watching a shot with Zachary Jones, and he was going this way, but I'm really not a fan of going that way. I mean, even if you can get, if you bled through this area and ended up out in here, you still got a pretty good shot coming in, a straight up shot, but it's kind of difficult to get out into that area. If the wind's blowing right and you bring out the right kind of ball, you can get a bounce out here, and you can try and make a run so that you're on the green side. Now, I found myself more often than not, I'm in the rough over in this area, or I've still got a pretty good chip to get on, but you're on the green side. And so if you can get on the green side, that's really good. Layup shots, you've got one that's from here that you can choose to go either through the fairway, or you could use this rough bump and try and get up there. Another spot that I don't see a lot of people hit from, if you have lower developed stuff and you're having a hard time getting into those areas, is you can do a rough bump. I think you can do it with a sniper. You can bring your sniper out and do a rough bump right in this area and just bleed yourself out so that you're right here. Then you have a perfect rough bump off of this little peninsula, and you're at the right angle going straight towards the cup. So we have some options that we can do here. I'm going to try and get over to the other side in one. So let's when we get out there, I'll switch it up and bring a power 5 ball, bring a berserker. And it might help if you had a ball that's got topspin boost. And it also helps if you have tailwind. If you don't have tailwind, you almost need a ball that's got topspin boost. Finding an opponent. Are we going to find an opponent? Here we go. Maybe. Graham. I like big putts. I do not like big putts. You can either get good at getting close to the hole, or you can get good at making long putts. And I do not want to ever get good at making long putts. Okay, so my opponent's going that direction. I'm glad they're going that way. I hardly ever see anybody go that way, but let's let them get out there so they can take that shot. With this wind, with this neutral wind, I might just be able to do that with a power 3 ball. I may not have to bring out a big power 5 ball. But if you got lower developed stuff or you don't have the topspin, you may have to bring out either a ball that's got some topspin boost or a bigger ball so you can get further down in the hole. What is it with my opponents hitting into the rough on layup shots? Come on, dude. You're freaking laying it up over there. That is what sucks, is when you make a decision that you're going to try and lay up a shot and then you end up in the rough. That is not good. So if I had a bigger ball, I could get a little bit deeper over there, but I think that'll be fine. I think it will be fine. 2-7. It's about 2 1/3 rings. Or excuse me, 1 1/3 rings. 2 1/3. Hitting it perfect. Just bouncing out and giving myself a nice short shot. That should be like maybe mid wedge. Maybe towards max. I have no idea if there's any adjustments, so I'm just going to take a straight up shot. If I can remember what my wedge numbers are. What are my wedge numbers? 1.2, 2.4. Kind of in between on my rapier. I think it might be 1.1, 2.2. The book says it's 1.2, 2.4. 1.2 at max, 2.4 at mid, but the weakness of a rapier is when you're at these mid clubs. Now what you can do is you can run out the topspin here so that you can get it closer in. Do 2 rings. Let's see where that puts me. I like that spot. If I was eyeballing it, that's where I would have put it. Just. So getting it over to that side, you still got a little bit of work to get done. It's no gimme on the other side, but I would much rather take a wedge shot than a long iron shot or a wood shot. So you got some options. You have options on that hole. That's the key. That is the key. All right, what do we got here? Hole number 7. Let's go look at hole number 7. I don't know. I'm looking at that picture, and that picture does not bring back, it's not jogging my memory banks. All right. So we have a lot of options on this hole as well. So option number 1 is, well, you don't really have a lot of options on a drive. You want to get out into this area. And this is a scary ass drive because there's so much undulation here. It's almost guaranteed that your first bounce here, your second bounce on the other side, and you're going to get a run where the ball is going to scoot. And it will look like it's going to go a billion miles. Now, forever and a day playing this hole on the second shot, we'll have to adjust on the first shot. On the second shot, I love playing this hole with a Guardian. Now, you can play it if you've got a lower developed ball or a lower power ball, and you're bouncing from this side, especially if you have a sniper, which doesn't have, quite as much distance. You could struggle a little bit where your first bounce is here, and your second bounce, you almost are going to do a rough bump on the second bounce and then kind of bleed forward. If you bring out a bigger power ball, and you're down into the zone, you can actually get over to the other side where you can do just a straight up rough bump. And I liked playing this hole with a Guardian. I struggled a little bit if you screwed the drive up and you had to bounce from over here with a Guardian. You kind of struggle because it doesn't have a lot of topspin. You could barely get over to the other side. But there is a red line issue where you can get caught where you're in between clubs right here, and you may have taken the rough bump out of play. So you could take your Guardian and you could stick it on the green and you could just try and backspin it so that you could get up there. But if you were in the right spot, you could take it. Whereas if you have a sniper and you were in the wrong spot and you took it out of play because your red line was here, you had a hard time doing the backspin shot, so you kind of had to bring it over and bounce it. So the Guardian kind of gave you a little bit more options. But I'm going to bring a bigger power ball and we'll just go play it. We'll play it with a sniper. Try and do a rough bump here. I do like playing this, and I think let's look at the Guardian. Let me switch. I may play this with a Guardian. We may play it with a Guardian. Let's look at distance. That's 7 yards. Do I want to play with a Guardian? I'm going to play with a Guardian. I'll play with a Guardian. What the hell? And what bag was that in? I put in a Guardian and then I probably have the wrong driver. Yeah, let's play with an extra mile. And I don't want to play Century Harbor. I almost screwed up. Like, you guys are sitting there going, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to hit 3. He's going to make 3 mistakes in one video. Almost screwed up. Let's see how this drive goes, because I know if you put everything on it, you do not want to have to take this with overpower, because it's so inconsistent on the other side. And I know it will roll and roll and roll and roll when it gets to the other side. But I'm not sure exactly where the best spot is based off of what club you're bringing. I'm going to just put on 3 and a little. Four. It's 2 rings. We'll see if 3 and a little, how far. That might leave me short, but we'll see. Hitting it perfect. See if I get the run. Now that left me well short, but that was super safe. Let's see how much in between clubs I have. So they got a 4-4-4. The utility ball. Any ball that's 4-4-4 is a great utility ball. I mean, it may be worth having a 4 power ball that's got something precision or some. You see they got the rolling out, and it's very easy to do. And you can see as it gets close down to the end, it rolls off down to the rough. So if you hit that with any speed, I need a little teeny bit more distance from where I was at, just a bit, just a little teeny bit. 2.9. It's 1.1 per ring. So there's 2.2, and that leaves me 7. It's about a ring and about 2. That's that much. So I need a couple rings of power. Get it 1 ring right to the right. So I need a little teeny bit more distance than what I got. And need to be more down there where my opponent's at. I played that pretty safe. So getting all the way down to the end down there where my opponent's at would be better. So I had 2.5, 3.5 topspin on there. Probably another 1.5 topspin. Hitting it straight down. The deal is that you can end up, you can get like where my opponent was at, where they're hitting that flat. What are they doing? Yeah. What were you doing, dude? I'm not exactly sure how you set that up. I'm not exactly sure what you were doing. I have made a lot of eagles on this hole, and that rough bump is really, really good. But it's definitely one of those holes that we're going to have to pinpoint place. We want to be in the same spot on our drive every time, so we don't have that red line issue. And if we had any headwind there, I would definitely have to be farther forward than I was in order to work the wind out. Definitely. My opponents keep ending up in the crap, and they keep ending up making their shots, so at least they got that going for them. Hole number, what was that? Hole number 7? Hole number 7 in the books. Hole number 8. What do we got for hole number 8? I look at those little teeny pictures and they tell me nothing. They give me no info. All right. It seems to me that we were trying to get into this area and then go straight up. Now you can go this way, but the green's down here, and this area is up here, and this area is down here. So you're either going uphill, going downhill. But it seemed like this area right here, you had a better run at the cup than trying to get up in here. I'm just wondering if you brought out a bigger power ball, if you couldn't make a run to try and get through and get up in that area. Let's play around on this hole. Let's play around on it and see what we can do on this hole. I'll burn a couple practice tokens. We'll explore on this hole. I know that you can go down into the lower area, and it seems like, and you have a great shot going up the hill. I think on the drive you can take a rock, take your quarterback, take something accurate that's got some ball guide, so you can try and stick it as far down into that chute as you can on the left-hand side. But let's explore on the right and see what we can get done. Let's just throw the ball out there and see how far it goes and see what kind of adjustments we need to make. And see how many times I have to play the hole before I can actually get something good. Slice and dice. Here we go. Getting out on the course. Now they have a marlin, so that's not helping them. Man, these are definitely holes you don't want to have to be doing overpower. What are you giving me emoji faces for, bro? Are you like all my other opponents in the rough? No, you are in the clear. In the clear. Let's try it. Let's try and get up there. Let's see what we can get done. Those trees in my way, those lampposts are in my way. If I try and do a max overpower hook, that looks like those trees are in my way. Okay, there's 10. I'm pointing right at that tree. 2-9. It'll be about a ring and a half. Let's see if we hit the tree. Oh, I didn't quite get it all. Am I going to hit the tree? I did. I'd have to be either on the outside of that tree or I'd have to be on the inside of that tree. I think that trajectory is probably wrong. I'm not sure we can't just do a max overpower curl shot if you had an APOC. Might switch that up to my number 5 bag and just see if I can pound it up there. I never thought I would get an APOC past level 3 because it took over 2 years before I got an APOC, and the only thing that saved me was the club card trading. And now that it's at level 6, I'm getting greedy. I really like it to get to level 7 because then you get that top spin, and the extra mile is pretty much the only reason I use my extra mile right now is because it's got more ball guide. Ball guide is good. I watch a guy that cuts opal. His name's Pulitzer Opal is the channel. Bigger is better and better is good. Bigger is better and better is good. I watch a couple opal cutting channels. Pulitzer Opal, Black Opal Direct. Let's see if we can do a dunk from distance. Now I have to recover. My opponents have been in the rough the whole time, and I'm in the rough, so let's see if I can recover. They've been recovering. All right. I think there's a way to turn those off so I don't have to see them anymore. I need to go find out what that is. Put some effort into it. Getting it perfect. And hold. Recovered. All right, let's try that again. Let's try that hole one more time. Let's be a little more serious this time. So the max overpower hook shot may or may not work out there. Hole number 9, hole number 8. Let's try that one more time. I'm going to switch to my number 5 bag and use my APOC and see if I can just curl it around that bend, see how far it can get. And just pound it out there and see, like, really just how far it can get. I should bring out a power 5 ball and really see how far it can get. I may take this with an APOC, or with my APOC and a berserker, excuse me. I have no idea if it'll be good, but at least look at it so you can make a determination. Telemarketers. I pick up on those telemarketers sometimes, and I spoof call them. They call, and then I get on there and I have a persona called Bob, and then I try and keep them on the phone. See how long I can keep them on the phone. This is not the hole that I wanted. What freaking hole is this? Now you can't get on a 1 here, but there's a shot that you can do from right here that you can do with just a regular power 3 ball. You don't have to get jiggy with it. See where that bounce is. Okay, bounce is good. I'm going to give myself plenty of room. Plenty of room. 2-4, 2-4. I got in the wrong freaking hole. What a bunch of crap. What a bunch of crap. One ring great to the right. And there is a bunch of different ways that you can play this particular hole. But the last time we played this in a tournament, I was demoing that shot right there, because you can come out here and you don't have to bring out, if you got big wind, you don't have to bring out a power 5 ball. You don't have to bring out anything special. You can get down into that area. It doesn't take a lot of you can still get that done if you with lower spin, and you don't have to do any overpower. I'm not a fan of hitting it up here to the right. If you're just going to lay it up and you're in one-on-one and you got really bad wind and you're just laying it up that shot, but this is almost one of those holes that you want to go for it every time. Let's see if my opponent can get in the same spot. In the sand. In the sand. The whole goal is just to get in that mouth. And I believe that there is a 10% adjustment on this. Where am I at my club? There's max, so I'm about mid club. Don't need to do all the top spin. So that'd be like 4.9. That's 4.9 divided by, I'm going to say 2.1. I think I'm about mid club, maybe. And I hit it great to the left. If I was going to hit it great one way or the other, that was the way to hit it, because I don't know I got the wind adjustment right. Just on the edge. Perfect. Would have been right in the cup on the other side of the. I would have been on the edge on the other side, but I think it would have dropped. It would have been perfect. Close. Went to the wrong damn hole. Let's go back to that one hole though. I thought I changed it to hole number 8. Look at how many mistakes I make just in a freaking walkthrough. Come on. Get serious. I've actually not really tried to get on the green here. You can try and get on the green by getting super aggressive with it, but you can do that bounce over hitting from the tee box fairways, and then with curl and just doing the rough bump and just bleeding out in front is it's a pretty consistent shot, and you don't have to bring out anything special to do it, to put yourself in a really good position. It's not that you can't get it screwed up, because I've taken that shot and ended up in the rough and screwed it up, but you can get it done. Let's go back to freaking hole number 8. I'm going to switch to I'm going to bring out the big guns. I'm going to bring out an Apocalypse and a Berserker, and we're going to see if I can max overpower, max curl. Or I don't even know if I'll have to use max curl, but I'm going to see just like how far it can get up there. Like even if it's worth even attempting that shot to get up as far as you can up there. Or if you can make a run at it. If somebody's got a level 7 or a level 8 Apocalypse, and a lot of people are like, you got too good of clubs to be playing a rookie. Shit, I play against people all the time that have level 8 Apocalypses. So piss off. There's a lot of people, and you got to look at it's who you're playing on the course versus who you're playing in your bracket. People I'm playing in my bracket, the mass majority of them have better clubs than me. Over 50% of the people in the bracket have better clubs than me, and the other 50% are rushing. They're playing a second account and they've rushed it up, and so they're very experienced players. But when you see somebody that's got 6 billion earned, they've got some good clubs. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And we're going to take the number 5 bag. Let's put it all on. Let's put it all on. Let's leave that wind in. And let's do a max curl and see like if that's way too much. You won't know unless you try it. And that's probably going to put me in the rough. Whew, can't believe I made that first one. Not sure. Let's see what kind of... I'm not sure that did me. I should definitely be in a better club. I think if you were out on the tip out here, I think it's long iron, but that might have put me in short iron range. I think the max curl is definitely the way to go on that if you've got an APOC. And try not to hit it 27 rings great to the left like I did. You can go back and rewind that video. I barely hit the fairway. Barely. Okay, there's max. So I'm at max Kingfisher, which is 1.1 per ring. I'm going to put on 1 X-spin. And it's breaking right at the cup. A little bit to the right. 1.133, that leaves me 6. It's about 2.5 rings. Or 3.5 rings, excuse me. If I can get lined up. You got to grab the freaking ring set instead of the course. I missed my grid. I didn't think I was going to miss it, but I definitely miss it. And it is definitely uphill, and I needed to actually take a little bit of wind out. And it's going uphill, so you're going to have to run the ball guide all the way through the cup. I left it a little bit short, thinking it would run up, but it didn't. I might actually go for it on this hole and see if I can get up there into my short iron range. I do have some Power 5 topspin boost balls, and that might even be better, because where I was at, let's go back and look at the picture here. Where I was at on that hole, down in this area, I left a little bit of forward room coming in. If you had a topspin boost ball and you caught it right, you might be able to get more up into that area, but that was a pretty good area to be in. You just have to make your adjustment. But this is definitely long iron from down here, and if you can get up into your short iron, it could be good. Could be. So we've already seen hole number 9. I'm going to play hole number 9 one more time, and this time I'm going to try and get on. I want to look to see what it takes to get on in one. I usually don't play that hole that way. I usually just try and lay it up in front and go for it. And it's all about hitting perfect on that second shot and making a great wind adjustment and drinking coffee. As soon as I get done with this, I'm going to get dressed and get on it. And hopefully my dice are rolling good today. I'm going to need some good numbers. We spent 2 years getting all of the stuff and doing all of the adventures we needed to get all of the stuff to do the main thing. And so I'm going to have to put a little teeny bit of curl on that. It's 1.5 per ring. So there's 1.5, so it's like a ring and 2/3. And just a little teeny bit of curl. That's too much. Hitting it perfect. See if I can clip that. If I can clip that little rough and not end up in the sand. I ended up in the sand, and it definitely laid the ball down. So even a little bit of headwind definitely laid that ball down. Arr. That's why I don't normally go for the green there, because it could be. It's such a great shot from just right out in front versus having to hit from the sand. And the sand shot right there is, if you hit it perfect, it goes in the hole. But you have a much better shot of just hitting it perfect from the fairway 3 feet away. But you can get greedy and try and get on and one. You can get greedy and end up in the rough on the other side over there. From this distance, see if I can hit it perfect and get in the hole. Nope. No dice. And just missed it on the edge of the cup again. 2 close shots. What are you laughing at me for, dude? You're in the rough. Come on. At least I was in the sand. Closer. And there's, with your Nirvana, there's a great, you could probably do a rough bump from right there. Okay. Yeah, eyeballed it. Now you've got some mini curl on there. If this ball goes in, it's just like blind luck. So we've seen all the holes. There's at least a couple of them that are not necessarily give me's, but like if we've got to get the eagle on those par fours. But all of them, we have a great opportunity to put ourselves in position. There are a couple of them that are going to be a little bit harder for sure, but it looks like maybe 3 that are we have to get, and 3 that are like super good shots, and 3 that we're going to really have to make sure we put ourselves in the right spot. I was curious when they came out with that, because they could have went through and picked out all of the easiest par fours, and it's like, okay, hey, everybody's going to, and what we're really shooting for is to try and get hole-in-ones. That would be the next Community Cup, where they make the wild shit on there, where every hole is like super makeable. All right, that was my first look at the city outskirt holes. I'm gonna play. Dunner and I are gonna get together this weekend, either depending on what time I start playing this afternoon, maybe today, but probably for sure tomorrow, and play around. I do need to call Dunner today so we can play our Century Harbor 9-hole cup final round with my Ott and his another Dunner, or too many Dunner accounts. Hopefully we can get that in today before I start playing. But hopefully tomorrow we can play the city outskirts and take a look at it as well. Thanks for watching. Everybody be safe. Have fun. It looks like it will be a fun tournament. So catch you on the next one.